Hi, I'm Zaben, and I'm here to play with you a little bit. So I was talking to a client, which resonated so much with all the other clients I've had throughout the 15 years I've been doing this, and there seems to be a repetitive concern, and I think this is mainly it resides within the world of the empaths and the light workers, right? It's like this. So what it is this deep need. I've come to realize there's this deep need not to burden anyone with our problems. So this client was sharing with me, like, you know, she was fatigued, exhausted, depressed, feeling really sad, anxious, and really concerned about her financial well-being and her health well-being. And she proudly said that I'm making sure not to complain to my family members or my 2 children. Like, I don't want them to know anything. And my kids keep coming and saying, "Mommy, what is wrong? We know something's wrong. Are you gonna die? What's happening?" And every time they would come and share themselves or their questions with her, what would happen is, due to her deep need to protect them, not to be a burden on them, right? This fear of being a burden on someone or being the victim of life or living in that victim of life, her fear would deny, be like, "No, everything's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Don't you worry about it. There's absolutely nothing wrong." And this has happened on many occasions, even in workshops I've given where I would hear this from mothers, where they would do their best not to burden their kids. Obviously, a lot of them had come from a family dynamics where one of their parents always played the victim and over-exaggerated in the victim state and never got out of it. So to them, it could be like such a disgusting state. Like, they didn't want to be burdened. They didn't want to burden their children the same way they might have felt burdened to help and fix that parent that was a victim of their life. But the sad part is that if you think about it, when we were denied as children, because I'd gone through this, of course, what we perceived to be our truth, what our intuition was saying, what we were observing, when we were told that was not true by our parents, who are our world, what would happen is that would shake up our own belief and trust in ourselves. We would start to doubt, like, was I wrong? I felt my mother was feeling really off, but she's saying no. Or I felt that my parents are fighting, but they're pretending that they aren't. Or I saw this and they're saying it's not true. What happens by denying due to wanting to protect them and not be a burden on them is you are teaching your kids not to trust themselves. Now, this is going to be a 2-part. There's the kids and others, right? And just family members and friends. So now we're talking about the kids. When I deny to them out of my own perception of this is protecting them from the psycho victim me, right? I'm protecting them and giving them their freedom. What you're truly doing is denying their intuition and their perceptions. You are creating a world for them not to trust themselves. Now, how many of us are working so hard to remember how to trust ourselves again? Because every time we would see our parents argue, or we would feel energetically, or we would get intuition, we would be told, no, everything's fine, right? No, we're good. No, there's no such thing. No, I'm really healthy, but they're not really healthy, right? And we would start to not trust ourselves. Why would you ever want to do this to your kids? So this is what I suggest. The best thing that works is to be honest and truthful. This will help you evolve into a more authentic, vulnerable person, and it will teach your children that who they are and their perception of life is true, so that they can trust themselves, because that's the most important thing throughout life. So how is it done? "Mommy, you look sad. Mommy, I'm worried about you. There's something wrong. I feel that you're sick." And instead of denying and saying, no, I'm fine, and I start to pretend that everything's fine, or say, no, it's just mommy's whatever, I will be as clear and honest without having to share the details, which would look like this. Mommy's feeling really sad right now, right? Yeah, mommy too is worried about you. Are right. This is how I'm feeling. Yes, we are in an argument. You are correct. Your feelings are right and what you saw is true. I am just dealing with it in the best way I can. You are not responsible to take care of it. However, I thank you so much for paying attention and coming and sharing your truth and your concern with me. So what you're doing is you're validating who they are. You're making them trust themselves. You're being truthful and authentic, and you're teaching them how to be truthful and authentic, and that their feelings matter and their truth matters, right? You're like doing a million things just by saying your truth to the child. Even if you don't know that you're angry and your child comes in and says, Mommy, I feel you're very stressed and I feel there's something wrong, and you're unaware of it, be like, really? That's interesting. Well, let me sit with myself and figure that out. Thank you for that insight. Can you imagine how your kids could you imagine how you would feel if that's how your parents corresponded with you? Not as a child that needs to be protected and saved from something, but as someone who's wise, right? Someone who you trust, who's worth trusting, who you believe in, who you understand, who's an equal. Not because they're tiny and short, you know, and they haven't lived as long on the planet, they're idiots. They're not. If anything, they're more intuitive and highly attuned as children to their surrounding environment and their intuition more than us. We're so clogged up in our mental chatter that we're not even observing what's really happening. We're so concerned in our minds all the time. So remember, your kids are here to help you evolve and heal old wounds. And it's your role to be as honest and clear and truthful. So that's about the kids. Now the other part is when friends call you up, when neighbors get a hold of you, when family members do, and they ask, are you okay? Can we help you? Is there something wrong? And then you have that same fear build up of, oh, I can't be a victim. I don't want to burden anyone with my problems. Oh God, I don't want to burden anyone with me. No, I'm fine. It's okay. You know, I'm a little stressed here, but you know, I'm so sorry to express that to you. You know, the denial, you're also denying somebody else's care and intuition or concern for you. You're letting them too doubt what they know energetically or intuitively, or their need to be there for you, right? Maybe you don't want their advice, but the least you can do is, you know, say your truth. You know what? I'm not in a good place. I'm in a really crappy place. I can't figure it out. I just need time to figure it out. And I'll thank you so much for reaching out. Now, if you do need help, you do need somebody to cook you something. You do need somebody to take the kids over. You do need someone that you can vent and speak to. You do need someone to just express your pain to. And that person does call or somebody does care. Please give yourself the freedom to do it, because that is the help that the universe is offering you. That's God's way of helping you out, which I'm sure you have asked for help. It's coming in human forms that are there, that are able to hold the space and give you what you need and what you desire. Nobody will want to help you unless they want to and can, and this would light them up. So stop dimming other people's lights, because acts of service make us all excitedly happy. You're not the only one that is going to provide acts of service. That is pretty selfish. Let others provide you with acts of service, because it lights them up the same way it lights you up to offer acts of service, right? Give that gift to others to do for you and relish in it. Because at the end of the day, this is Source, the creator of all, that is answering your wish immediately and providing the right people to come along to offer you whatever it is that you need at that time. And it's for you to learn how to start receiving instead of only giving and saying that you're not allowed to ever receive, right? And then hating the people later, being really upset with them, right? That they weren't there for you at your worst times. They tried to be. You were not there for you. You denied yourself the privilege and the beauty and the honor of receiving kindness from those who want to offer you kindness. Okay? So first of all, be authentic and clear. There is no shame in your pain, your demise, your suffering. There is no shame. You are free to feel all those things. You're also free to express yourself because it allows others to trust themselves that what they felt is true. You are not a burden on anyone. If anything, most of the world, outside of narcissists or toxic or unhealthy people, or people who are just so in the dark that they're just too selfish to care, all the people want to help others. It brings joy to their heart to just have somebody smile or be there for someone, even for it's just a few minutes, right? You get yourself out of the picture. Get that thought that I'm a burden, I'm a victim. You're not a victim. You're someone who doesn't want to live as a victim. I promise you, every empath, light worker, highly sensitive being doesn't want to be a burden, right? And can never live in the victim state for too long, right? They always find their way out and look for the optimism, right? But you have the right to live in the victim state for some time and just feel it and allow it to go. And you have the right to ask for help. Not because you're being a burden, just because this brings light to others. And this is how, when you ask, well, God isn't being there for me. I keep asking, I keep praying, I keep wishing. And it's like, well, why didn't you ever think that these are God's helpers on earth, even if it is a family member that you've known? But at this moment in time, they are the helpers for you, right? They are God's helpers. We are all God's helpers for each other on this planet. We just need to give permission to that. So again, with children, be clear and honest about your truth so they can start trusting themselves, and they don't need to go to therapy for 100 years to know why they doubt themselves, right? With friends and families, colleagues, whoever, any other human being, be also truthful and authentic about how you're feeling, because they must be sensing something and they want to know that they feel what they feel is true, and they may want to be of service. And when they do, just know this is source sending you help, right? And being of service to you, wanting to give you a gift for you through the earth plane, other human beings of some kind. Allow yourself to receive it. You get permission to receive it. This is how the world works. Stop fighting against what's rightfully yours. Stop fighting against what will give you and somebody else pleasure. Remember, as much joy as you get by giving and seeing someone receive it with love, you will offer them the same thing when you allow them to give you and you receive it with love and not ashamed of yourself. This was a long challenge for me because I was the caregiver of everybody. But God forbid, if anybody wanted to caregive me or help me out, I would feel like I was weak, there was something wrong with me, like I'm the provider, I'm the protector, I'm the savior, and no one else, I'm strong enough. But as it turned out, that was really a weakness I had, a really, really, really demented weakness I had, where I couldn't see that I was taking away from others their joy, and I couldn't see that I had the right to also receive and enjoy receiving. Leave me your comments and your examples of how this worked out for you. Tell me, how does it look like now that you can speak to your kids in a different way and be more free to be yourself and express yourself without having to really tell them the details of the story, but just explain how you're feeling, because that's the truth. And how does it feel like for you to just try it out with a friend, you know, to say, yes, this is how I'm feeling, and thank you for being there for me, and thank you for listening. I feel better, because you will, instead of apologizing all the time, right? Oh, I'm so sorry I said that. I'm so sorry that I burdened you. I'm so sorry, and like going into guilt for absolutely no reason. Thank the person for giving you their time. That's all you have to do. They'll feel happy. You'll feel happy. Okay, I love you guys.